Okay, video number 4 will cover testing irregularities. Testing irregularities are departures from the prescribed testing procedures, most of which will result in a written incident report to TEA. If you're unsure of something or curious of something, please talk to your campus coordinator. Examples of testing irregularities are students tested with the wrong assessment, or provided an unapproved accommodation, or in a situation where a student has an IEP, they're not provided something that was listed on their IEP form. In addition, a test administrator losing or misplacing a completed answer document and or secure test booklet would be considered a testing irregularity. In addition, a test administrator leaving the room unmonitored when secure test materials are present would be an irregularity, as would of students or secure test materials being left unmonitored during a break. If booklets or answer documents are not placed in a locked storage area during a lunch break, or students are allowed to use a dictionary or calculator at the wrong grade level or on the wrong test, those would also be considered an irregularity. Placing or receiving phone calls or text messages during a test administration. Students allowed to leave the test area with secure materials. Once again, remember, students are not allowed to transport materials throughout the testing area. Only those materials are issued to the test administrator, and the test administrator is responsible for their security and accounting for those materials at the end of the testing session. Also, if your materials are not returned immediately after a testing session, would be an irregularity, and any person transporting those materials who is not trained to do so. If a test administrator failed to issue the correct materials, or if students were provided non-allowable materials, which goes back to video number 3 when we're looking at those possibilities of materials for students to use. If you have any questions at all, please contact us beforehand and not after. If a test administrator fails to read the test administration scripts verbatim as outlined in the test administrator manual, this is extremely important, and especially as it relates to students placing their name on the front of the test booklet. As you may recall, there is a place for the name at the top of the test booklet, and in the past, we as the counseling department have always had a sticker with the student's name, so you would know which booklet was assigned to each student. The policy on placing the stickers has changed this year. That sticker will be in the top right-hand corner on the front of the test booklet, but this does not negate the fact that students must still write their name on the line that says student name on the front of the book. That is actually part of the script that you would be reading as directions. Another irregularity would be continue is if a testing personnel were to read student compositions. And discussing content or student responses, if you fail to use the test administrator manual, revealing confidential information, or scoring student tests or tampering with student tests are also all considered irregularities. An important one to remember, especially on STAR, which has the time limit, any student who was allowed to test beyond the required 4 or 5 hour time limit, or was not given the full time limit to answer their questions and take the test, that would be considered a testing irregularity. Also, if a student was allowed to bubble after time had expired, that would also be considered yet again an irregularity. Irregularities are things we can prevent by simply asking questions. If you have any inkling at all that something may be wrong, or after reading through your manual or this training, if you have a question that comes up, please let us know. Reporting irregularities has changed a little bit this year. An incident report will include a signed statement from everyone involved: the test administrator, campus coordinator, principal, district coordinator, possibly. The statement must include a complete description. There would be a district level investigation summary, and then new for this year is every incident report must include a plan of action that describes the steps the district will take to ensure that it does not reoccur. In the future, TEA has installed a new audit process that once a plan of action is sent, they will audit to verify that they have implemented those corrective action plans. So that is something that we want to prevent and not have to write out. So yet again, just ask questions ahead of time if you do have one. Some things that are important for you to remember to do is to read the manual, sign the oath after training. We will be having our faculty meeting for oath signing and any questions that have arisen as a result of this particular training session with the videos. Remember to remove or cover any aids to the testing in your classroom. Those of you in classrooms that will be used for testing will be notified, so you'll have the opportunity to cover or remove posters, books, maps, math charts, etc. If you are a test administrator, please remember to pick up your materials on time, keep them in your possession at all times, and then return them immediately afterwards. And you'll be able to check your rosters to ensure that students are in their assigned location. Once again, we will do this by handing out our tickets like we did in the past, and the students will know where to go, but just ensure that you only have the students that are on your roster, and if someone walks in not on your roster, then send them out into the hallway to find either a counselor or an assistant principal who can direct them in the correct classroom. Also, we must remember to post a testing do not disturb sign on the testing session door. This needs to be done at the very beginning, so we will know if we have visitors on campus that you are busy testing. In addition, be sure that backpacks, purses, and notebooks are not at the student desk. We ask that those be taken to the front or the back of the classroom. Be sure to read aloud the cell phone policy to students. This is before every testing session. It will be included in your materials in your tub for you to read that. And this cell phone policy now, as we've issued iPads to especially freshmen, and a lot of our students are bringing their other electronic devices, needs to extend to all iPads, etc. Remember, we do collect cell phones. We do provide you the baggies to collect cell phones and write their names. We are in discussion now to also extend that to taking iPads and other electronic devices to ensure that those are in the off position. Be sure to turn off the computer that's in the classroom that you're testing in, and to turn off your cell phone. As you're getting ready to return your materials, we need to make sure and verify that no answer documents are left in test booklets, that all the answer documents and booklets are accounted for, and that you have marked the score code for the students who were there and completed the test. So if you have questions on that, we will lead you into our future training, as we have training just prior to each testing session. But as you return your documents, remember we do have them in alphabetical order for you. So as you return the answer documents and test booklets in the order in which they were distributed. Also, remember not to view the test or the answer document except to notice if the answer document has not been bubbled correctly. Do not answer any questions related to the test. Basically, your answer can be, I can't answer that. Do the best you can. Also, when answering questions, you cannot rephrase any part of a test question or the writing prompt. And once again, remember, your cell phone and computer are not to be used. In addition, do not allow students to talk any time during the testing session. And when leaving the room, students are not allowed to leave except one at a time. When you need a break, you do have the sign to place outside, so be sure, and as you do take a break, to try to limit those breaks to a very short amount of time, as that hall monitor will be covering several classrooms and relieving several people throughout the day. When we're looking at irregularities, most common are secure materials left unattended, people not actively monitoring, discussing strategies on test day, and actually talking about the test or the prompt before, during, or after testing, all of which are not allowed. Blank or incomplete answer documents that are turned in are considered an irregularity. So it's important, as you're actively monitoring, to remind students that they must bubble in their answers on the answer document. And once again, remember that has to be completed before time expires. An irregularity that is another common one is when instructional materials are left on display in the testing room. So we will be covering those and checking those the night before, and then again the morning of testing. And then we prevent this one with the bathroom monitors, but more than one student in the restroom at a time. Also, we've discussed the fact that we are not allowed to discuss content or responses before the test, after, at emails, faculty meetings, or lounge. So remember to keep that in mind. And then failing to use the test administrator manual or paraphrasing the test directions is an irregularity, as would be clarifying a prompt or a test item. The end of video number 4 is here, and the questions once again are attached to the link below in the comment section. Just remember, anything that feels wrong or you have a question about, just let someone know, let a counselor know, or let an assistant principal know beforehand, and we can resolve that issue for you before it results in an irregularity and the reporting and plan of action and all that occurs with that. So once again, we'll see you in video number 5.